In our last class, we talked about how to use percent bars to scale a percent from 100% down to 10%, and then similarly a price down to 10% of that price. So for example, the first one here, we found 10% of 150 by saying, well, 10% is 100% divided by 10. So then 150 divided by 10 will represent 10% of $150. So once we have 10% of $150 is 15, we could then scale up by doubling 10% to 20%, and 15 times 2 would be the $30 for 20%. Then you can keep going. You can just do times 3 for 30%, times 4, times 5, etc. Or you could just count, plus 15, plus 15, plus 15, as you add on 10% every time. This helps us figure out 20%, or you could also look at it as figuring out 80%. If it's 20% off, that would be taking off $30. So 150 minus the 30 would be $120. Or you can think, well, we're taking off 20%. It means we're keeping 80%, which is actually right here. So we're keeping 80% of the 150, which is the $120, either way you do it. That's why, again, either way you do it, you'll get $120 total. In part B, we did something very similar. We wanted to figure out 30% off, so we found 10%, again, by dividing by 10. Dividing by 10 gives you the 10% here is $6. So then 20% would be 12 if you just double, and 30% would be 18 if you just triple the 6 and make it 18. So taking off the 30% off 60, just use your subtraction here, and you've got the $42. Similarly here for GameStop, 10% off would be 5. So which is the better deal? The 30% off of 60. Even though it's a bigger original price than GameStop, it is a smaller final price because of the percent made it a much better deal. Similarly here for the next example, we did the same kind of thing. Again, finding the percents to pick the best deal. And again, we did a couple more examples like this. The shortcut that we got to eventually was that if you want to find 10%, we can just divide by 10. We saw it many times with the percent bars. So just divide it by 10 and you've got 10%. That's a pretty quick way of finding 10% of these numbers right here. And then once you find 10% pretty quickly, you can then just scale it up. So divide by 10, for example, for this one, to get down to 6 for 10% of 60. So then for 30%, just do that times 3. And then for 80%, do this times 8, and there's your 48. What you're going to do next is very similar. You're going to use the percent bar models here to do some other problems. You'll notice here that the numbers are not filled in on the percent bar, but you can fill them in the same way that they were filled in before. Basically, just start with 0. You can put the percents up top if you'd like, 100% over here, and then just use your original price here, $40 over here and $0 over here, and then use very similar tactics as before to find the 10% and then your total cost. Remember that we have to know what these words mean: tax versus discount versus commission, tip, coupon. So if you need help with those words, you can always go back to the previous pages here. On page 5, we talked about what each of those words represent. So if you forgot what those words mean, go back to page 5 and you'll see if you're adding on or if you're subtracting, or if it's commission, it's actually neither. It's not adding on or subtracting. It's just a fraction of what you're selling. So use that to help you on page 5 if you need to. You're going to complete pages 10 and 11 with these practice pages. Again, use the percent bars to keep track. There's a couple tricky ones here with like 15%, but you'll be okay with that. Just figure out, what that's in between and do your best to figure out 15%. Go ahead and complete